Hello and good day to each and everyone. This is Coach Jean of Drafting Lifestyle and welcome back again sa ating channel para sa bagong tutorial na naman na pwede niyong magamit sa inyong AutoCAD Works. On my screen, as you can see, we have the foundation plan, an example of a structural working drawing. So since tapos na tayo sa architectural working drawing, although pwede pa nating i-include doon ang toilet and bathroom detail, doors and windows details. Pero, and then also by the way, we proceed with 3D works. Now, this time, we're going to focus on structural working drawings. Now, if the architectural working drawing is focusing more, or the person that is expert that you're going to consult is the architects, now on the structural detail, you have to consult for additional information and consultation that must be done in or sa isang civil engineer. Kasi sila lang ang may kakayahan and then the expertise that they acquired in their field of specialization is very reliable, especially sa strengthening ng structure. Now, architectural working detail focuses more on the beauty and aesthetics of the structure, but on a structural detail, it talks about the strength and durability of the structure, which includes loads and weights. Okay? So, kailangan natin yung isipin. Now, it is useless to have a beautiful building if it could not withstand any natural calamity that can happen in a certain area. Just like what happened in other countries na nagkakaroon ng matinding earthquakes, nasisira ang mga structure. So definitely, it is very important for you to have knowledge on how to draft structural details in a foundation plan. Now, ano nga ba ang foundation plan? Foundation plan, or the function of foundation, is to provide a level and uniformly distribute support for the structure. It must be strong enough to support and distribute the load of the structure. One must put into consideration the type of foundation material to be used during planning. Soil testing and research is also important as to the materials to be used during drafting of foundation plan. So before you proceed further, always consult for a civil engineer, and then importante rin kailangan soil testing. But in drafting purposes, for especially for high school and senior high school, in an AutoCAD way, this is the guide that you can use for your foundation plan. Okay. Although they are just similar with more manual, but of course, the commands and the proper steps on how to come up with the foundation plan is a little bit of different. Kasi iba ang commands natin, iba kasi sa manual. Okay? So without much ado, let us start with our video tutorial. Welcome back again sa ating AutoCAD Works. We still remember this is the floor plan that we have. And then as a side niya dito is the same guide, the grid lines that I had used sa ating pag-drop ng floor plan. Always remember, when you drop the foundation plan, you make sure that the spaces, dimensions, and features are the same sa foundation and floor plan so that your drawing will be reliable and valid. Okay? So, to start here, I'm going first to copy this one para magkaroon ako ng spare ng drawing. Okay? Para may spare lang man ako so that in a future purposes, magagamit ko pa siya. Now, the first thing you have to do is to identify kung ilang footing and column na meron tayo dito sa floor plan. So, in a basic floor plan that we created here, we have number 1, we have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the first thing you have to do here is to identify how many footing columns that you created. So ang gagawin ko lang dito is I'm going to create a rectangular command and then I'm going to type, I'll change the layer into default 1. Rect tayo ng 0.20 tab 0.20 na column. So in other words, for single story houses, 0.20 or 8-inch na column is okay already. Now, there are times it ranges from 0.20 to 0.25 to 0.30 ang range ng laki ng isang column. So, pwede na siya for second floor. It must be bigger, at least 0.40 to 0.35 is the ideal. Okay? So for the column, this is for the column. I'm going to have another rectangular command here. Again, I'm going to give a value of 1, tab 1, and then press enter. This will represent as the footing. So footing, nakasubmerge ito sa baba ng lupa that will give the strength sa isang bahay. Okay? So I'm just going to move this one by pressing move command sa gitna ng footing column. Now, I'm going to highlight this first, and then I'm going to give this one as a hidden line. So as you progress with your work, always remember to keep your drawings na man-layer na siya kaagad para madali ang trabaho natin. Okay? So, here, I'm going to layer this one as a solid wall and then provide a hatch for this so that upon copying this drawing, madali na lang. So, I'm going to click solid and then click this one, and then right away, I'm going to provide layer for the wall. Okay? So, that is the one of the most simplest way on how to create footing column. Pero pagdating natin sa footing column detail, iba naman ang prosesong gagamitin natin. So, this is the position. Now, before I'm going to proceed the position here, I'm going to first lay out yung wall. Okay? Ile-layout ko muna ang wall kasi as you can observe, ang column ay hindi nakasentro sa bawat side kasi nasa paloob siya. Okay? So, what should I do first here? I'm going to type multi-line, then S, and I'm going to type 0.15, enter, make sure naka-J siya to make it on 0, which means you can start on center. So, click lang natin siya. Ito, by the way, I'm going to change my layer into, I'm going to change right away my multi-line into wall para madali na siya. So, click na lang natin. Then, on all the wall area. Remember, okay, hindi lahat ng walls are made out of concrete hollow block. There are times they are made out of FISM boards or what we call the drywall. CHB are also known as what we call the wet wall. So, which means they are using concrete. Of course, when you use concrete, may tubig na hinahalo. So, in our basic foundation plan, so gagamitin lang natin muna CHB as the basic. So, multi-line, same procedure to create all the walls as a represented for wet wall. So, ibig sabihin lahat ito naka-hollow block. Okay. So, once I'm done here, I'm highlighting this object and then explode everything so that I can right away trim all the intersections and edges na hindi importante sa akin. This is what we call discipline already applied in our work. So, every time we use multi-line, every intersections that we create, ginagamit namin. But not mandatory naman talaga kailangan para sa inyo sa amin as a discipline. So, I'm going to copy on its designated position ang bawat column natin. So, I'm going to copy here for the 1. And then, copy na naman ako sa gitna. Okay, dito. And then, I'm going to copy the other one dito sa opposite side. Now, take a look ha. Compared sa manual draft, mas mabilis natin siya nagagawa kasi meron na tayong, it's just copy. Okay? So, sa manual draft, iisa-isahin talaga natin yun siya. So, since I already have this 3, I'm going to highlight this one, these 3 objects or the footing column. Copy ko na lang siya kaagad. And then, I'm going to find the center of this and then place it on the middle of the grid 2 or A2. Okay. And then, I'm going to copy these 3 objects that I created here and then copy this one, give a copy for the last portion of the wall. In other words, I have already completed my 9 footing columns in every part. So, in other words, they are already reliable with the floor plan. So, they have 9 columns here and then we also have 9 footing columns na nandito sa ating floor plan. So, kailangan reliable siya. Okay. Now, the next thing that you are going to do is simply to identify the position of footing tie beam and wall footing. Now, there is a difference between wall footing and footing tie beam. Commonly, sa mga ginagawang mga designs ngayon, outside corners of the wall, they are using footing tie beam. So, which means these beams are located sometimes submerged sa lupa, sometimes nasa along floor line ang footing tie beam. So, depende sa pag-design ninyo. So, in our case, I'm going to place a footing tie beam on all these corners here. And then, I'm going to give at least 0.25 or 0.30 ang footing tie beam, or 0.25 lang. And then, inside the wall, I'm going to apply the wall footing, which is the common that we use in our concrete. So, multi-line muna ako, and then I'm going to type S. I'm going to give it a value of 0.25 for footing tie beam. And then, I'm going to place them, and then I'm going to change, before we proceed, I'm going to change the layer right away with a hidden line. So, represented siya as submerged sa baba. Okay? So, footing tie beam dito along the corners of the wall. So, 0.25 na footing tie beam for single structural, or single story structure. Pwede ng 0.20 to 0.25. For second flooring, at least bigger, at least 0.30 to 0.35. So, yun ang mga common na ginagamit dito. So, we already have the footing tie beam here, and then I'm going to apply the wall footing here sa baba. So, inside walls, wall footing ang gagamitin natin. So, ML type S, I'm going to give a value of wall footing ranges from 0.30 to 0.40. Dati, they are using 0.40. Ngayon, in the latest mga nakikita kong design, they are only using 0.30. So, pwede siya, either you can use, pwede. So, 0.3, enter. And then, I'm going to choose the inside walls for 0.30. Okay? So, repeat the same procedure by typing multi-line. And then, if you are repeating the same command, just press spacebar to continue the same procedure. Now, same process that will be applied, that you are going to explode the objects and then trim all the unnecessary lines inside the areas na hindi kailangan. Okay? So, trim lang natin, and then it's really important for you to master trim and extend sa AutoCAD. Okay? So, kailangan siyang gawin nyong exercise sa inyong trabaho. And then, on the remaining parts here, just do the same process, trimming, TR, double space bar. And then repeat the same process. Okay, and to the last part. Now that we already have it here, I'm going to create the next part. The next step that we are going to do is nakuha na natin ang wall footing. I'm going to create crisscross lines or cross lines along the floor areas sa drawing natin sa floor area. So I'm going to change my line here into the most thinnest line as the section, create line. So I'm going to type line here, create lines here in the middle. Okay, so since I already placed these lines, and then I'm going to apply text here. Okay, I'm going to change the layer text, and then I'm going to give it a label here. I'm going to type on fill. Sorry, it must be capital. On fill at 0.50 meters. Okay, remember, if you're going to make it the same width, remember, nung ginawa natin ang elevation natin, ang height ng floor line, finished floor line from the grade line is at 0.50. So in other words, ibig sabihin, ang floor area is on fill with a 0.50 meters floor area. So in other words, naka-elevated siya ng 0.50 and then with composed of filling and concrete. So, after you are done with this, you're going to repeat the same procedure. So, I'm going to fast track it here so that mapabilis ang trabaho natin. Okay, so we already placed the designated positions of each. Ibig sabihin na kung on fill yan siya. Pero dito sa loob, no, I'm going to change the value kasi if you're going to base it on elevation, ang distance natin dito sa, the floor level of the toilet and bathroom is a little bit lower compared sa common floor. floor area. So of course, you know the reason, para hindi lumabas ang tubig at para hindi magkuryente if ever man magkaroon ng problema sa bahay. Okay? So I'm going to type here. And then, make sure naka 0.40 lang siya. Now, inside the structure, no, as you can see, I did not place the same because may ilalagay pa tayo ditong circular object. So I'm going to type circle here and then give it a value of 1, enter, and then trim ang area nito. Now, the purpose of this is to show the deformed bars inside the floor slab ng structure. So, before we proceed, I'm going to give it a hatch. And then, I'm going to choose AR concrete or AR concrete and then click on the circle inside. And then I'm going to change the value of 0.05 para as a representation of concrete. Now, if you're already done, press enter. Now, once you are already done placing this AR concrete, I'm going to choose my thickest line, which is the grade line. And then I'm going to create lines, one horizontal and then one vertical. Okay, so we already have this one as the representation of deformed steel bars sa loob ng flooring. So the distance of the common flooring, ang sabi ng mga engineers, the closer the steel bars, the better. So mayroon sinasabi palagi that huwag tayo magtipid kapag sa steel bars. Now, the ideal ranges starts from 0.1 and the maximum at 0.60. Pero sa common structures for single floor areas lang, they are ranging on 0.50. So allowed naman siya. So I'm going to give the offset here it in a 0.50 distance, one to the left and one to the right. Okay? And then repeat the same procedure. Sa horizontal, one to the top and one on below. So, as a representation of what we call the steel bars. Now, I'm going to trim to make this more neat yung mga excess lines dito sa circles para mas maganda siya tignan. Okay, so here we already placed the important things that inside the structure. So this time we are going to label everything. Okay, so kailangan i-label natin ang drawing natin dito. So I'm going to change here into text again, switch my layer to text, and then I'm going to type MLD. So MLD stands for multi-leader line. So enter, click the line, the area that you're going to do, and then I'm going to type F8, click, and I'm going to apply the text here or put a label here. For example, 10 mm. Commonly, ang steel bars na ginagamit sa mga floor area sa ground floor is at 10. Some are using 12. Yan ang mga common na ginagamit dito. Okay, so 12 mm, and then you have to insert the diameter symbol. So on how to show the diameter symbol sa AutoCAD text, simply by typing %% C, and it will give you the symbol for diameter. So 10 mm diameter steel bars spaced at 0.50 meters both ways on center, comma, and I'm going to give it width 0.10 meters concrete on field. So in other words, this is the definition that commonly that I have seen or ginagawa sa mga foundation plan na labeled for the deformed steel bars. Okay? Pwede rin natin siyang gawin 10 mm diameter deformed steel bars. Okay? Para mas madali, mas maintindihan talaga siya. Okay? So, if you're already done here, it's time for us, no, tapos natin siyang i-label ang steel bars, it's time for us to label every footing column details that we have here. So I'm going to give a text here, and then I'm going to give it an F-C. So F-C stands for footing column. Okay, remember, hindi palagi isang design lang ang footing column. There are times kapag ang footing column, pag ang structure may dalawang footing column, so you have to design F1, C1, and F1, C2. So, depende kung paano i-design. Okay, but for basic purposes lang naman to siya, for early beginners ng AutoCAD to draw foundation plan, FC na lang ang gagamitin natin. Okay, now, question also. There are times that, ang sabi ng mga estudyante, Sir, bakit parang napapansin namin walang poste ang isang structure? Dahil, simply, ang poste ay hindi palaging isolated column or isolated footing. There are times, meron siyang tinatawag na yung column naka-shape with the wall. Now, there are kinds of column na naka-L-shape or T-shape. That's why hindi napapansin ng mga tao kapag may poste ba ang isang bahay. Okay? So, hindi palaging naka-square palagi ang ating hindi palagi naka-square palagi ang ating column. Okay? So, take note on that. But basic purposes, remember, this is the way on how to create an isolated concrete footing, column footing that we have here. Now, so since we already identified the different column footings that we have, it's time for us to label yung footing tie beam. So, simply copy the text. Now, I'm going to give this as FTB, which stands for footing tie beam. Okay, so, highlight this one, copy, on its designated position. So, copy lang din natin siya dito para mailagay sa mga designated. Remember, what we did was putting tie beam sa lahat ng exterior na wall. Okay? So, also, I'm going to give this one on a horizontal form. Of course, you have to rotate your text. Type RO, enter, and then just drag the mouse para ma-rotate ang output. Okay, remember also, take note that you have to make sure constant use of F8 is very important. Kasi, from time to time, you need a straight line or in any angled line, pwede. So, constant application siya or constant discipline ang ginagamit dito. Okay, footing tie beam. Now, the rest here, which we did not indicate, is the wall footing. So, I'm going to erase this one, copy. Okay, footing tie beam, i-release ko na ito siya. And then I'm going to type here, double click, WF, which stands for wall footing. So I'm going to copy this one on its position. Okay, so I'm going to remove the F8 or undo the F8, and then I'm going to place this one sa mga areas na may wall footing. And then I'm going to rotate the object, and then copy. And then here, place the wall footing. Okay, so which means we are almost done with our work. The only thing that is missing here is the dimension. So what we are going to do here, from this point, I'm going to change my layer to dimension, and then layer it already with a dimension or indicate dimensions along your work. Okay, so course, DLI, and then to continue, dimension continue. So, depende na kung saan nyo ilalagay ang dimensions ninyo. Okay, to make it more detailed, mas maganda para mas maintindihan ang trabaho. Okay, DCO, dimension continue, and then same procedure here, DLI, center. I'm going just to adjust this one side para mas madali, and then DCO, and then just move it outside. Now, last part sa area, we have to indicate here DCO, dimension continue, okay, so we are almost done with our work. Of course, we have to plot this so that makita natin ang overall output. Now, not to forget also, you have to place dimensions for your general measurement. So, total measurement ng floor area. Okay. Now, the only thing is missing here is placing the foundation plan. So, I'm going to look for a copy here. So, dito, if you still remember, I'm going to copy this one. and then I'm going to place it somewhere here. Now, double click, change the word into foundation plan, and then you just drag it a little para magkasya. Same thing to do with the line. And then adjust the text. Then move along the lines, or remove natin siya ng konti dito so that may ilagay natin siya sa sentro. So we are already done with the drafting the foundation plan. So in a most basic way. So all you have to do now is to layer your work. So I'm going to move this drawing far away dito. So this time I'm going to layer this work, or I mean going to plan this work on a model space. Kasi nasanay na tayo sa pag-draft ng pag-plot ng output natin sa layout space. So not to forget also, there is another way on how to plot your work into model space. Okay, so here I'm going to place this one ito, and then I'm going to change this one, ang title natin, into foundation plan. Okay, and then move this drawing, this text on the center, and then ito naman, I can edit this one. So for example, sheet number 1. Okay, now make sure to check first before you are going to submit to your professor yung output niyo. So the name of the professor, pangalan nyo, section nyo, or name ng teacher nyo. So always remember, take note that you have to make sure to let it check by your, if you're a student, let it check by your professor or your teacher before you proceed any further with your work, so that maibigay ng input or insightful comment ang teacher or professor. If you're already professional, make sure to give the comments right away, or ibigay kailangan kaagad ang consultation or insight suggestions ng civil engineer, para as long as you progress with your work, may natatapos kayong, or hindi nagkakamali, or if there is correction, madali ninyong ma-address. Okay? So with this, we have, remember, when you're going to plot on model space, I'm going to choose ANSI full blade for short. So short band paper, take note if you're going to plot this in monochrome or in AutoCAD. So dito naman, of course, nakikita nyo na yan. Then make sure to center the plot, and not to forget to change the value into 2.54, and make sure to uncheck this fit to paper. So apply to layout, preview. I'm sorry, we did not change the window, so click natin ng window, not to forget here. Click siya, papunta dito. Okay, check again. So this is our foundation plan work sa ating model space. Okay, so if you are already done with this, if wala ng correction, you can already submit this to your professor or to your teacher, or have it checked by your engineer kung ano pang kailangan palitan. Now, before I proceed to end this video, okay, before I'm going to end this video, I have worked with several engineers and architects, no? So both of them are very good professionals. So sa minsan lang kasi, on aesthetic sense, ang architect, no, this is a representation of concrete wall. Now, sa mga architects, as part of their aesthetics and discipline, kailangan naka-solid wall ang kanilang wall representation dito, which means this should be solid. Now, other engineers that I have worked with, no, they can, or it is already accepted as good as is, basta mayroon lang siyang description if putting tie beam, which this is represented as concrete hollow block. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, this is a whole concrete hollow block. Now, kasi ang sabi ng mga architect, if ganito daw ang design sa kanila, this is considered as dry wall. Okay? So this is considered as dry wall. So other engineers accepted na siya. Either way, you need to consult first, no, sa inyong nakatataas. Okay? Always remember, there's always someone who is above us. Okay? So if you're already done, plot your work, apply to layout. Okay, then change the word into foundation plan, and then I'm going to choose on desktop, and let's see. Okay, so if you are already done with your work, you can already submit this one. Okay, so this is Coach Gene of Drafting Lifestyle, and I will not make this video very long because okay na tong output na to. Now, if you have suggestions for nakapanood dito, engineer ba, architect, if you have suggestions, please feel free to give your insightful comment so that we could also apply this to our students, so that we could address the learning needs and update our teaching information to our students. We are going to apply it, and we are very happy that someone is also giving us informations. Okay, kung may maidagdag pa kami, mas maganda. Okay, so we don't say that we know everything, but in the most basic process of drafting foundation plan, this is already okay. So thank you once again. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. This is Coach Jean, and you are with Drafting Lifestyle. Thank you po.